focus on portion as earlier announced by our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji.
Kiran, you have already launched the meeting. Do you want to join the same meeting again?
Please mute yourself.
Yes, ma. Okay.
Please mute yourself.
And then, let me issue.
Sorry. So we are celebrating this Poshan Maah basically to eradicate the problems and the different associated maladies of portion nutrition, because in India more than 40% childhood is malnourished, and even in the total population, if you see, more than 30% population is under malnutrition. So it is very much needed to focus our program on a national level to eradicate the problems and the maladies of the malnutrition. Madam Manju Sharma ji, who is the icon for this academy as well as former secretary to the Government of India, she has started this program as the chairperson of the NASI NER initiative, and last year we organized many programs related with portion. This year also we have already organized one or two programs on portion, but recently organized in collaboration with the NIN Hyderabad, and this is the second program now which is being organized with the NER. Already the Varanasi chapter has taken many programs under this nutrition. So we have to start this, and for that I would like to request Archana ji, who is coordinating this from Allahabad, Prayagraj headquarters NASI, to kindly introduce the chairperson of the chapter, Professor Chatterjee, and then invite him to formally welcome everybody.
Thank you, sir. A very good morning to everyone present here. So we are organizing this event to commemorate the Poshan Maah as well as to celebrate Azadi ka Anrut Mahotsav, which is Government of India initiative to celebrate 75 years of India's independence. So this program we are organizing with NER chapter of NASI, and may I now request Professor Anupam Chatterjee, sir, the chairman of NASI NER chapter, to please welcome our guests formally. Over to Anupam Chatterjee, sir.
Manju Sharma, former Secretary of DBT, Government of India, and past President of NASI, Honorable Vice Chancellor of NEHU, Professor Prabha Shankar Shukla, other dignitaries, Yaji, Archanaji, and all other dignitaries, a very warm welcome to all these today's webinar to commemorate the month of September 2021 as the Rashtriya POSHAN Maah, which is organizing by NASI Northeast Chapter. As you all know, that India is at the cusp of major transformation, yet it faces a developmental paradox. On the one hand, it is hailed as the fastest growing large economy in the world. On the other, it is still home to an unacceptably large number of malnourished children. While tremendous progress has been made, significant challenges remain. Every third child is underweight, every fifth child is wasted, and more than 50% of the children under 5 years of age are anemic. It is in this context that the Honorable Prime Minister launched the Poshan Abhijan, that is Prime Minister's overreaching scheme for holistic nourishment, on April 8, 2018, to tackle the issue of malnutrition in a mission mode. The program strives to reduce the level of undernutrition low birth weight in children, and anemia in adolescent girls, pregnant women, lactating mothers, as well as children. This is an ongoing program to give an Jan Andolan on nutrition a head start. September 2018 was celebrated as Poshan Maah, which has been able to touch more than 27 crore people across the country. This was achieved through meaningful partnership and the invaluable contribution of all. Rashtriya POSHAN Maah is being celebrated during the month of September to further accelerate various activities under Poshan Abhijan and to create a Jan Andolan in the process of adhering to COVID-19 protocol. In this welcome address, I will limit myself to welcome you all and wishing this webinar meeting lots of success in our work in the coming days. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for extending a very warm welcome to everyone and presenting the current scenario of our country so far as the malnutrition is concerned. In spite of the fact that our country has made significant achievements in several fields after its independence. NASI has a mandate Science and Society, and NASI has been effectively pursuing this very mandate since its inception in 1930 through its various local chapters. NASI has 21 local chapters spread all across the country, and Northeastern region, that is NER chapter, is one of those which was evolved with the prime objective to spread the more and more knowledge, scientific knowledge in Northeastern region. Now, I would like to request Professor S.R. Joshi ji, who is also the Secretary of NASI NER Chapter, to please say a few words about the role of the chapter, its activities, and also the efforts made by the chapter in disseminating the very core message of NASI, that is Science and Society. Over to Dr. Joshi, sir.
Very good morning. Am I audible, Madam Pang?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, very good
Speak
morning.
a bit louder, sir.
Honorable Madam Manju Sharma ji. We have, she is present with us this morning. In spite of her health, she's really not keeping well. But Madam, we wish you all well, and you'll get back to your normal health in very short time. Good morning to her. Dignitaries, fellows of NASI who are present in this meeting, the student participants from different colleges of the town and university, they are there today. The chairman of NASI Northeast Local Chapter, Professor Anupam Chatterjee, Professor S.R. Rao, in whose center we are assembled here and using the facility, the director of UGC SRTC, Honorable Vice Chancellor, my own Vice Chancellor, sir, he's joining online. He just had some work, so he's just joining online. So, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor P.S. Sukla, who is with us for the last 2 months, and everyone present here. NASI Northeast Chapter is one of the chapters that we have, more than 20 chapters that we have in the country. And we are also mandated to do some work at our own level in Northeast, especially relevant to science and society. And we have been doing this since the inception of this particular chapter, which, the chapter was chartered way back when Professor Tandon and Madam Veena Tandon were here, and we started this chapter. And this chapter has been very, very vibrant under their leadership. And we're just trying to follow the legacy of keeping this vibrant and also active, working on the areas that we are advised and mandated with reference to the National Academy of Sciences, India. And we travel across the different states of Northeast, 80 states, including Sikkim. We conduct program all over, although, the area that we cover is very, very vast, but we are doing it. And we have a very good support from our fellows of Northeast. We have Professor Lata Rangan from IIT Guwahati, who is joining today, and she has also brought in the resource person, Dr. Lakshmi Priya, who is going to be speaking on very, very important aspect today. We have Professor Madhulika, who would be joining us from Banaras Hindu University, and we have Dr. Mandari Bla from Shillong. So this is one of those activities we have taken as portion activity as part of the NASI Northeast chapter activity. And I must place on record the support that I get from all the fellows of Northeast India. Especially this program was all driven by Professor Lata Rangan and my chairman, Professor Anupam Chatterjee. We have done programs which are relevant to the tribals and the less fortunates. We had given awareness trainings on mushroom cultivation, fish farming, the supplementary livelihood that they can earn by even going into the vermicomposting, developing certain kind of fertilizers for the soils to improve crop productivity. Fish farming has been very successful program that we have done for the tribals under the tribal programs. We do a lot of science awareness programs and excitement in science that we started way back in 2006 with the advice and mentoring of Professor BP Sarma. We are continuing doing the outsourcing of activities. I would not say outsourcing, going out to really make people aware on COVID. We had massive visits that we did under the COVID-19 to make people aware how to protect themselves and what are the COVID protocols or behaviors that we must adopt. We had a good number of programs that we have conducted last year, and we are still doing it. Now the schools have started opening. We would intend to go to school and do it offline programs. We have the next week, we are planning to have Azadi ki Anrut Mahotsav, where we want to talk about, the national relevance to the school children and how science has progressed and what they can do. And this chapter basically is doing work which is, I would say, being limited, because we are not really traveling to the interior, but there is a need. We should go to interior. Although we visited Arunachal Pradesh, we have visited Sikkim, we have visited Manipur, we have done in Mizoram, we have done in Nagaland some program. Assam, we have done a plenty. Meghalaya is a hub, but with the support of the NASI and the fellows and members, we have been doing this very efficiently, and we intend to extend it further. And I thank the mentoring that we receive from NASI headquarters, especially Professor Manju Sarmaji, for the very relevant program that he suggests. And it is really relevant to Northeast, because Northeast is predominantly tribal dominated area, and they really get benefited with all the programs that we have taken up. And they stand by what we support and how we train them, and they are very happy to have many more programs which we intend to continue in future. This is just a brief on how we are doing at the moment, and I thank NASI for this particular program also, because with their mentoring and guidance, we are able to really take up this program on Poshan. Thank you, madam. Thank you, everyone.
Archana, has the Honorable VC joined?
Yes, sir, he has joined, madam. He has joined. Sir has joined.
Good morning to all of you.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Professor Shukla is online, madam.
Okay.
Sir is there online.
We would like to invite the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor P.S. Shukla ji of NEHU, and it is our opportunity. We feel pride and privilege to have him in our program, and we request him to kindly deliver the opening remarks. Professor Shukla, sir.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, I would like to welcome all of you, being a Vice Chancellor of this university, and all the members present in this Poshan Maah celebration program. And today is a very relevant topic selected by the organizers. So also would like to welcome the Professor Manju Sharma, former Secretary Government of India, along with MS Lakshmi Priya, and also two speakers from the different areas, Dr. Mandari and Dr. Neeraj. So we know the Poshan is really a very important topic in present time, and that is directly concerned with the food system of the Indian people. And young people can make the food system fair and more sustainable in the face of challenges to progress on malnutrition. We already know during the COVID period, we already suffered, not only the young generation, also the old generation of the country suffered with this. So with the food system of the country, or food system of the young generation, or the food system of the old generation, we can again nourish the population of the country, and food system affect everyone and incorporate everything from the way food is produced and distributed to how it is consumed also have the impact. As a youth, we can say or can lead for the nutrition, and we know that the role of the young people in transforming food system is a very critical in present time. Our generation of youth is the largest in the history and has a valuable role to play in making the food system and more sustainable, resilient, and effective food system. To build back better, follow the setback triggered by the COVID-19, we need to create better food system that meet the needs of the poorest, not only the poorest, also the sufferer of the COVIDs, and most the time, that is in the COVID period, always the vulnerable. But our food system are far more vulnerable without the active participation of the young people. We represent the most active and energetic age group, and more important, we consume more than any other age group. To build better food system, young people must be lead the way. To know this, all of you are well aware about our Prime Minister overreaching the scheme, overreaching for the holistic nourishment with the Abhiyan of Poshan, or the National Nutrition Mission. Is the Government of India flagship program to improve the nutritional outcomes for the children, especially pregnant women and generation lactating mothers, launched by the Honorable Prime Minister. Ministry of Women and Child Development, Government of India, and Niti Aayog have played a critical role in shaping the Poshan Abhiyan, the National Nutritional Strategy released by the Niti Aayog in September 2017, presented a micro-analysis of the problem present in the nutrition domain and chalk out an in-depth strategy for course correction, and most of the recommendations presented in the strategy documented were summoned within the design of Poshan Abhiyan. Post the launch of the Abhiyan, Niti Aayog was interested with closely monitoring the schemes and undertaking period evaluation as a part of the mandate. And Niti Aayog submit implementation status report of the Poshan Abhiyan to the Prime Minister of India, and this carried out through the technical support units established in Niti Aayog. So in this response, we just know that in Indian conditions especially, the 40% of the girls and 18% of the boys still are anemic. Anemia among adolescents adversely affected the growth. So resistance to the infections, cognitive development, and work productive. So that is the need of the hour to how to nourish the young generation. And we know the position of the country. We are self-sufficient in the food, especially the wheat and rice. But before few years, for self-sufficiency in the pulses, Government of India also launched the Pulse Mission. So through the Pulse Mission, in last 3 years, the total production of the pulses increased in the country. And on the basis of data, I can say this year, we are more or less up to the mark of the pulses production for the nutritional requirement of the country. One more thing I would like to mention here today also. Just like only few are aware, few crops have a very good percentage of the proteins, that is soybean, I always mention, have more than 42%, 40 to 42% protein in soybean. And Government of India also interested to mix the soybean, because due to the presence of lipoxygenase enzyme in soybean, people are not directly going to eat or like the soybean. But with the soybean, people can prepare so many things like the paneer, like the even oil also, like the milk. Soybean can play an important role for the nutritional security. And I think before 2 days, Government of India again identified the few crops, not only few crops, our researchers already developed more than 35 variety of different crops, and that variety is known 45 varieties. So through the 45 varieties, our Prime Minister launched a program again. If our farmer going to produce 45 varieties of different crops, I think in the future, we will again in position to meet out the nutritional security of the country's people. Not even in the Indian conditions, also there is other problems faced at the international levels and national levels also. Generally, the young generation are can say in the developing nations like our country and everywhere, there is an urgent need to promote and increase in the production of the food. This makes sure the food system is sustainable and reduces the nutritional inequity gap, so that everyone can access healthy and nutritious food easily. I have found that in food system are not gender inclusive. This has a negative impact on the food production, food preparation, and nutrition, especially for the children. In several countries, for the example, rural women are the primary food crop producers, while men are more involved in some areas. Some in area the female are the involved in the some other activities. But these women are also responsible for the care of the children, the sick and elderly, and also know what food is most needed by the family. The educated family status of the country also playing an important role. If family is not educated, even they don't know about the nutritional and non-nutritional food. So this is also a challenge for the country. So as I think, for the only youth are present, youth can play an important role for the production purpose, nutritional crop production, for the preparation purpose of different type of food, and also for the consumption purpose of the food. And government already launches the different type of the program. So I hope in the future we will meet out also in the country will also in position to meet out the nutritional requirement of the young generation. So I hope the 2 to 3 hours webinar will be very useful, and after the discussions and different type of deliberation, we will conclude something which may be beneficial for the planning, may be beneficial for the young generation, the country, and also hope with this we will be success to provide the knowledge to the young generation, not only young generation, also the all people of the country, to how can he or she enrich their feeding material so that the nutritional deficiency may be released. In the last, again, would like to wish the organizer, especially Dr. Joshi, and also the Professor Lata Rangan, with this workshop, you will be gain something for the further to fulfill the further need of the country. Thank you, and once again, thanks to big success of this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening speech, especially covering the areas like food production, food availability, food preservation, and all that, and its correlation with the bioeconomy, because the bioresources are the main on which we can depend for our maladaptation, eradication, and all these things, related things. Thank you very much, sir. Now, before we could invite Honorable Madam Manju Sharma ji, I would just like to read 2-3 lines just for her zeal and enthusiasm and her enterprise, because even at this age, she is much more enthusiastic than all of us. So I would just like to say, मुश्किल राहों पे चलने की आदत है हमें. This is for Madam. मुश्किल राहों पे चलने की आदत है हमें, फिर भी हौसले हमारे कम नहीं पड़ते. हम तो सिर्फ कोशिश करते हैं दिल से, ये बात और है कि अब जमाना भी है बदलना. Thank you, madam, for your continuous guidance. I would like to request Ashna ji to say few words to introduce madam, because many people have joined in this seminar. About 200 people have joined. Many young researchers and students are there. Please introduce madam.
Thank you, sir. as some of the students have joined this event and maybe for the first time. So I would like to mention in a very nutshell that the National Academy of Sciences India, NASI, is the oldest science academy of this country, founded by a very eminent scientist, visionary and great social reformer, Dr. Meghnad Saha. And since its inception in 1930, NASI has traveled a long journey in communicating science to the people of society. And this journey would not have been possible without the support and tremendous efforts made by its past presidents. We are very much honored to have Honorable Madam Dr. Manju Sharma ji, the past president of NASI, who has made immense contribution to all the activities of NASI, and it is because of her tremendous support that NASI has taken new heights. And we are very much blessed to work under her valuable guidance, and she is in fact the soul of NASI. She doesn't need any introduction, but just to introduce her formally, I would like to say a few lines that Madam Dr. Manju Sharma ji played a significant role in establishing several institutions in the country. She was the president of the National Academy of Sciences India and also the Indian Science Congress Association. She is well recognized for her manifold significant contributions, particularly for the welfare of women who regard her as a role model. She earlier served as the Secretary, Department of Biotechnology in the Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, and was most recently the President and Executive Director at the Indian Institute of Advanced Research in Gandhinagar, Gujarat. She is still very active as the advisor of NASI's new initiative and also as the NASI DST Women Scientist Chair Professor in the National Academy of Sciences India. She has been honored with numerous awards. There is a long list, but to mention a few, I would like to say that she received a Lifetime Achievement Award from Biospectrum and was awarded the Padma Bhushan by the Government of India in 2007 and received the Lifetime Achievement Award for Yeoman Service in Biotechnology for the year 2018 from Reva University, Bengaluru, and Lifetime Achievement Award 2019 by Society for Ethnopharmacology, India. With this very brief introduction, I would like to request Honorable Madam to please say a few words and give your blessings. Honorable Madam, Dr. Madam. Thank you, Sharma.
Thank you, Archana, for those very kind words. A very good morning and namaskar to all the guests who have assembled here. Professor, the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Shukla, Professor Anupam Chatterjee, Dr. S.R. Joshi, Professor Veena Tandon, Professor Pramod Tandon, Shubhra Chakravarti, all the very, I think Madhurika has also joined, so Professor Madhurika Agarwal, and all the distinguished speakers, Ritu Trivedi, etc. I want to also address my very dear students, I believe, who have joined in large numbers, and I'm sure this particular webinar will be of great use to you. A designer crop has always been the dream of a scientist. Anybody who's working in agriculture, molecular biotechnology, or just biotechnology, or only plant sciences, if you ask them, the main intervention they want, especially in agriculture, from biotechnology is to develop biodesigner crops. Biotechnological interventions such as micropropagation, genetic modification, genome sequencing, structural, functional, and application-oriented genomics, using plants as bioreactors, transgenics with novel traits, higher productivity, disease resistance, and better nutritional quality. So our whole effort in the agriculture and plant science area is focused on this aspect. Norman Borlaug, in one of his speeches, said it's a very important statement he made. I quote him, genetic modification of crops is not some kind of witchcraft. Rather, it is the progressive harnessing of the forces of nature to the benefit of feeding the human race. The genetic engineering of plants at the molecular level is just another step in humankind's deepening scientific journey into living genomes. And I'm sure Shubhra knows all about this, and she's making Herculean efforts at the NIPGR to look upon various aspects of genomics. Chronic malnutrition has been a very serious problem in this country. We have 815 million out of 7.6 billion people in the world who are malnourished. Need to diversify the crop production, produce high energy crops. And why I want to touch upon some of these agriculture issues is that when we are tackling nutrition problem, first we have to look at the source. What is the source of our material which is coming to us to be fed to the people, younger people or poorer people? Dr. K.L. Chadha, who was in ICR, wrote a very intense paper in October 2019 on several aspects of agriculture, horticulture, which directly relate to solving the problem of malnutrition. I also want to tell here at this stage, horticulture is one of the most essential, I would say, practices which will help in reducing the malnutrition. Fruits, vegetables, mushrooms, plantation crops. All these are very important, and all these relate to horticultural practices, improved horticultural practices with biotechnological intervention. The concept of nutri-horti gardens, that means horticulture and nutrition combined, such small gardens in the house of every villager or every farmer, or even in semi-urban areas, wherever there is some place, I think is an extremely important concept. Training of people for processing the food. There is a National Institute of Agri-Biotechnology only meant for this purpose. That how do we transform the food to become more nutritive with all the important qualities of a crop. Biotransformation is extremely relevant in this concept, and we have been taking up this matter at every forum, biotransformation of major crops, and I'll come to the point with what it is essential. See, as I said, the crop biotechnology and the SNT intervention in agriculture, they are both extremely relevant for food and nutritional security. You know, if you look at our nutritional status, as I have already said, and Honorable Vice Chancellor mentioned, that we are one of the most hungry people, poorest, and the most malnourished children because of the shortage, because of the deficiencies which are there in the food which the people eat. According to UN reports, from 2007 onwards, they have been giving reports, and there are underweight children higher than the sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. almost 40 million are stunted. Malnutrition contributes to about 60% of the 10 million deaths in the country. Globally, children under 5 years. So it's very sad. Children under 5 years. India has about 2 million child deaths. Very sad situation. Now, when we are talking about the nutrition and the deficiency, what deficiency are we thinking of? Basically, it is the micronutrients which are deficient, and when they are deficient in the food, they cause all sorts of problems. For example, vitamin A, iron, iodine, all these cause mental and physical weakness and low productivity. If you are physically weak, your productivity level will go down automatically. So we are going to have people in the next few years, if they continue to grow like this with malnutrition condition, the productivity will be very, very low. And how will we ever meet the dreams of all the big programs, universal vaccination, about combating the malnutrition, independent, self-independent in economy, and the national nutritional security, etc., etc. Atmanirbhar Bharat. How are we going to get all this done if we are not physically strong? As I said, micronutrient deficiency can be improved by several things: iron, iodine, magnesium, zinc. All these elements can be introduced into the crop through the genetic modification, or even transformation, the biotransformation of the crops. And many of the DBT institutions are going ahead with these programs, which are totally relevant for the nutrition in agriculture area. All-round efforts certainly will improve the nutritional security. As Honorable Prime Minister in 2020 September announced the POSHAN Maah, NASI from that time onwards has taken up several programs and has organized many webinars. Hundreds of students, scientists, even younger and senior scientists have joined this workshop. But why Honorable Vice Chancellor very rightly mentioned the richness of bioresources in the Northeast, and they have to be the major source, as we have heard, the botanical dietary supplements. So the bioresources based economy, bioresource based practices which will help to combat malnutrition, bioresource based practices which will generate employment. All these three are essential. And we are looking at bioresources finally to lead India to bioeconomy. That's what we have been trying, including the energy part. From major energy sources, we have come to bioenergy sources. Let me just have 1 minute on the botanical dietary supplements, because the richness of the plants and microbes in this region, I want to mention here that plants have enormous ability to synthesize a variety of chemical compounds, and many CSIR laboratories, many universities, other institutions are working on that to isolate a large number of chemical compounds. More than 12,000 such compounds have been isolated so far, and many of them used for herbal medicine. So when we talk of herbal medicine, it is not just the medicine or the treatment of a disease, but it is more of a nutritive value of herbs. You see, like we all know about Chyawanprash. It's a combination of many medicinal plants, and it is such a rich source of vitamin C. And vitamin C is absolutely essential for the malnourished condition. So far, we have a very good herbal market, which is growing by 20%. The emphasis on nutraceuticals is increasing day by day. And the industries are paying more and more time to develop these nutraceuticals, which are something between the medicine, herbal medicines, and the herbs and the food value, something which they can food supplement rather. I would say. This particular seminar, Dr. Joshi, I feel, should have convey a very strong and a loud message in the Northeast region, not only in Nevu, that the bioresources ought to be utilized to the maximum extent. And whether it is organic farming, that also can be done, and to produce bioresources like what Sikkim has adopted, or any other biotechnological intervention, micropropagation, etc., etc. But we have, and of course, biotransformation. We have to focus on the utilization, judicious utilization of bioresources. The Northeast will have no issue because it is so rich in bioresources that we can always think that we don't have to transport extra material or extra food grain or extra other things to enrich the population with the nutrient food. So what message I want to give, especially to Dr. Joshi, and also a large number of students who have joined this workshop, is that you are living in a world which is endowed with a very, very rich biodiversity and bioresources. You have to make a judicious utilization of these bioresources using technological interventions. You must have heard the other day while the Honorable PM was announcing many programs for agriculture. He said that agriculture will improve with technological intervention. And that is what we need, even with the bioresources and also with agriculture, what we do in Northeast. From the very beginning, we have to start thinking that how do we transform many of the crops to a designer crop, which will be finally a nutrient crop and give us the nutritional security. And that same thing can give us the livelihood security also. So we should start many programs. And NASI has done one very big program on nutrition in Varanasi, then one in Dehradun, which is ongoing. And if you prepare a good program, maybe NASI will also consider a program to be started in Northeast region. But the focus must be on bioresources. So at the end, I want to say that ultimately we have to realize, as Gautam Buddha said, of all diseases, hunger is the greatest. There is no other treasure equal to that of rice. So we have to think about that. While we want to grow our economy, we want to become Atmanirbhar, we are celebrating this Azadi Mahotsav. all this, but we have to think of the millions and millions of children who need our attention, who need better food and nutritionally rich food rather, to grow as really valuable citizens for this country. In Northeast, in particular, I would like Shubhra, she's here, I'm very happy. Shubhra, you should try and select some of the very good students from various universities, Lata Rangan and Dr. Joshi, Dr. Anupam Chatterjee, they can all help, and get them trained at your institute in some of these areas where the biotransformation is going on. You can even give the training students to in the NABI Mohali Institute. So DPT has number of institutions which can provide very good training for the conversion of these bioresources into bioreactors or even food producing crops. So let us fulfill the dream of our Honorable Prime Minister, what he thinks that agriculture should become the major driving force of our economy, our nutritional and health status, and livelihood security. Thank you very much. Archana, please go ahead now.
Thank you, madam, for sharing your profound thoughts and knowledge and enlightening us on this very important aspect that is nutrition. And you have very nicely presented the scenario of prevailing condition of malnutrition with reference to the underprivileged women and children, and the core message that having a good nutrition is very important. It is very important to enhance the economic productivity of our country and also to make our country self-reliant. Thank you so much for sparing your time. Now, Mission Sampurna is a pilot project initiated by the district administration of Bongaigaon district of Assam. And under this project, the prime objective is to identify and tackle the problem of malnutrition of the children of that particular district, and also to spread the message of holistic nutrition. There are several self-help groups which have been formed under this project, and there are several women, particularly the mothers, which are also involved in these self-help groups. And they have been imparted training on various activities. So this project is serving the dual purpose of tackling this problem, that is how to eradicate the malnutrition, and also to make the women self-reliant, that is to empower them economically. And this is to spread the message, more and more awareness to the children, and particularly the mothers, the expectant and the lactating mothers, on how to take care of themselves and how to grow nutri gardens in and around their area, so that this the purpose is solved. We are with us Dr. M.S. Lakshmi Priyaji, who is the District Commissioner of Bongaigaon District Government of Assam, who is aiding the malnourished children in that district under this project. Her research areas include nutrition, maternal and infant mortality, decreasing child marriages and rehabilitation, COVID management, law and order management. Dr. Lakshmi Priyaji is 2014 IAS officer and also a doctor. So in fact, she is doctor turned IAS officer and also a Carnatic vocalist. She has worked in various capacities in state government, including assistant collector, additional collector, deputy secretary, and collector. So during the initial stage of COVID pandemic, that she took charge as a district commissioner of Bongaigaon district. She focused on controlling the pandemic as well as took steps for the betterment of people and also the environment. So she is going to deliver a talk entitled Project Sampurna on military management of malnutrition and empowerment of mothers in Bongaigaon district, Assam. We are very much thankful to her for sparing her time out of her busy schedule and to say a few words. We request you, ma'am, to please share your experience under this project and how this project is going to be beneficial, especially for the women and children. Over to Dr. Rashtriya ji.
Thank you, ma'am. A warm welcome. Good morning to everyone. Professor Manju Sharma, ma'am. Am I audible? I hope I am audible. Could someone tell me if I am audible?
Yes, you are audible.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Professor Manju Sharma, ma'am, former Secretary to GOI, Department of Biotechnology, and Chairperson of National Academy of Science New Initiatives. Ma'am, it is nothing less than an honor to see and listen to you today, ma'am. I am thoroughly inspired. Professor P.S. Shukla, Vice Chancellor of Northeast Hill University, Shillong. Professor Anupam Chatterjee, Chairperson of NASI NER Northeast Chapter. Professor S.R. Joshi, Secretary of NASI NER Chapter. Professor Lata Rangan, HOD of Biosciences, IIT Guwahati. And Dr. Mandari Yamla, St. Mary's College, Shillong. Professor Mathulika Agarwal, HOD of Botany, BHU, Varanasi. Dr. Neeraj Kumar, Executive Secretary, NASI Prayagraj, who all are co-presenters today. And Madam Archana Pant and all other NASI faculty and everyone else who has been instrumental in getting today's webinar organized. My project is named Sampurna, considering two factors. One is to make the nutrition of the children Sampurna, and also the second is to make the mothers empowered, thereby being Sampurna. These are the considerations that we had when we decided on the name, which incidentally came up during one of our discussions with our team. Ma'am, with everyone's permission, I would like to share my presentation on the screen. Ma'am, as the content is getting shared, I will ma'am, as the presentation is getting shared, I will share with you how we started the journey. Ma'am, my district Bongaigaon, where I joined, I am from 2014 IAS batch, ma'am. And as Archana ma'am said, I did MBBS from Trivandrum Medical College, and then later on I joined in IAS. So, ma'am, this is my second district where I am district magistrate. When I joined in Bongaigaon, ma'am, the district has a population of around 11 lakhs, and the last September when we were doing work on Poshan Maah. Yeah, but it's the last slide. When we started the work on Poshan Maah in last year, ma'am, we realized that we have a total of 2,250 moderately acute malnourished children and around 250 severely acute malnourished children. I am sure everyone who is listening to the webinar, who is part of the webinar, including the scientists and students who would have joined, are definitely aware of acute and chronic malnutrition. Nevertheless, for the sake of completion, I would simply say that acute malnutrition happens because of some reason that is sudden, more or less sudden, as compared to chronic, which is caused due to a long-standing cause and which usually has a medical condition attached to it. So my district ended up having around 2,500 malnourished children when we started the study in the month of September last year. What I am trying to prove using the project is there are the 2 points that I'm trying to prove is that, one, if the mother of the child is educated and empowered, then it is more likely that the child becomes healthy. As compared to the other interventions that we normally do by way of giving money or even some food items, it is more important and more prudent that the mother of the child knows what the problem is with her child so that she may take it up. And then there comes a solution. That is what my project has proved also. The second point that the project has proved is that whenever we know that a child is severely acute malnourished, that is SAM child, the first advice that we get is to get the child admitted in a nutritional rehabilitation center or NRC. But when we do a proper assessment, we identify that most NRCs have a limited capacity, maybe 20 or so per district. In addition, if a child is admitted in the NRC, the child needs to stay there for a minimum of 15 days, before which the child becomes healthy. So that will mean that the father or the mother of the child, who would have been earning wages on a daily basis, would have to let go of the earning for 10 to 15 days, which would simply break their entire family setup. Government has come up with 100 rupees per day for the bystander of the child now, but it is not a practical solution to put every child there. It would probably mean that when the same child goes back home after 15 days, the same child may end up becoming malnourished once again. What worse, if the child has a sibling, which is most probably the case, by the time this child becomes healthy, most likely the other child would have become malnourished. So the solution I have learned in my short experience of being an IAS officer and being an MBBS doctor before is to engage with the community. There are many problems for which the community has solutions that no one person can cause. So our project Sampurna has proved just the same. So what we have done here in Project Sampurna is that once we identified the children, we identified their mothers, formed self-help groups of the mothers and involved them in some or the other economic activity which could be done through these self-help groups. The mothers started earning. Meanwhile, till around 3 months or so, we supported the families and these children in order to give nutrition to those children, both SAM and MAM children. And now, after 1 year, almost 95% of all our children, all the identified children, have now become healthy with no absolutely intervention from health side or from any NRC, Nutritional Rehabilitation Center. It has been totally done in the community. So this is my project, and my argument is that the mother of the child, the women folk of the community, and the community itself should be roped in for any such activity, because especially in places like Northeast, where the feeling of community is very, very strong, one can always instill that ideology in their minds that it is common property. Children are common property, and unless every child is healthy, no child is going to be healthy. So this is basically my project. So I will just go through the slides now. This is our logo. On the right side is our logo that is designed by our Poshan Abhiyan team itself. And we have written Amar Drishti Khore Khore Pushti Amar Shakti Hafal Matri. That means our vision is poshan in every house or nutrition in every house, and our strength, Amar Hakti means strength, is Habal Matri, matlab empowered women. That is how we worked on the entire project. And in English, we have written empowered mothers, healthy children. Going to the next slide. As I had already told a while back, this entire activity of Mission Sampurna, Project Sampurna, was taken up as a part of the National POSHAN Maah, or the Nutrition Month of 2020, in the same lines as Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi and the National Nutrition Mission envisaged in order to reduce malnutrition among children. So it's a very targeted approach. Our intervention and innovation was supported wholeheartedly by IIT Guwahati, especially by through Professor Lata Rangan actually. We had worked with National Institute of Rural Development and the Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship, and basically our knowledge partner was UNICEF and Tezpur Medical College, and all our documentation and other works were support we got from Tezpur University. My Bongaigaon district has got 5 child development projects. In fact, the entire work is done under the aegis of the Social Welfare Department, under which every district is divided into ICDS projects, that means Integrated Child Development Scheme projects. I have 5 projects under my district: Voitamari, Dangtol, Manikpur, Srijangram, and Tapatari. I have in my district, the demography is quite varied. We have people of both Hindu and Muslim religions, 50-50. People who follow a particular kind of food practices and a different kind of food practice. So our approach was targeted differently for both the sections. So what we tried to solve, so our major work was targeted for 3 months. So for 3 months, we supported them nutritionally also, in the understanding that after 3 months, the self-help groups would be self-sustained. So what we tried to solve was eradicating hunger and malnutrition, thereby reducing infant mortality rate and maternal mortality rate, anemia amongst young mothers, and empowering women. I'm sure all of us understand that it is this vicious cycle of an unhealthy, or rather an anemic, malnourished young mother who gives birth to a low birth weight child, who grows up into a malnourished child, who again will grow up into a malnourished young girl and malnourished young teenager, who is most probably anemic, as in case of Assam, and end up becoming a young mother. Considering the sociological element also, some of them are likely to get married quite early. So this is this vicious cycle in which empowerment of women is a major missing factor.
What? X for?
I'm going to the next slide.
Y for?
Sorry? Mike, okay.
Yeah. Y for?
So, the major structure of our project. So for the project, what we did was that I have 1,100 Anganwadis in my district. Considering the number of children, admissions, etc., enrollment, etc., and for the ease of discussion, let's consider 1,000 Anganwadis in the district. These Anganwadis themselves were made a separate unit, which would be headed by the Anganwadi worker herself. So she would have the list of all the children who are enrolled in that Anganwadi, and she would do the assessment of their nutrition status by plotting the weight against height WHO growth chart, which we have supplied. Incidentally, I would, since we are discussing this point, I would like to also mention that ICDS projects all over the country are presently using growth charts which are weight against age. Weight against age growth charts would simply show if the child is underweight or not. It cannot show if the child is malnourished or not, because for that we need weight against height growth charts, which is the WHO growth chart. There are two growth charts, one which is a bit difficult for an Anganwadi level person to work with, and one which is easy. So what we did is we provided each Anganwadi with a separate growth chart and a table using which they would be able to assess the nutritional status of the child. The next level would be the Anganwadi supervisor level, where the supervisor herself would be the chairman. The next level would be in the CDPO level, that is at the ICDS project level. The child development project officer who heads the ICDS project would chair that level. And at the district level, the ADC, that is additional district magistrate who looks after social welfare, would chair the district level committee, who would ultimately report to me. So the meetings were held every Wednesday, because every Wednesday at the Anganwadi level, because the Wednesday is the day of, which is called VHND, Village Health and Nutritional Day. That is all over India. So on that day, the pregnant mothers, the adolescent girls, the lactating mothers would come to the Anganwadi with the child. So the measurements would be done on that day. The next day, on Thursday, the Anganwadi supervisor level meeting will take place after compiling all the data from the Anganwadis. Then the next day, the CDPO level meeting would happen. And on Saturday, we would meet at the district level to analyze the data. This is how we worked for those 3 months. Nutritional awareness and monitoring committees have been formed at the Anganwadi level. And what we have done is that there are people who live in the similar socioeconomic strata in the same community. Some of the mothers have healthy children, some mothers whereas have malnourished children. So what we identified was that there are some indigenous food items and food practices which one of the mother is following, which the other was for some or the other, not for other reason, not able to follow. So we created what is called a buddy mother concept. So if a mother's child was not healthy, her buddy mother would be the mother of a child who was healthy. On Wednesday, both the mothers would come to the Anganwadi and they would all sit together and discuss about what is it that had gone amiss in the other's nutritional management. In addition, we had given a chart, a date-wise chart to each of the child. So every house would have a Sampurna chart against which they would have to mark that day's nutritional intake. So they'll have to simply put a tick mark, vegetables, milk, egg, etc., etc. And then on Wednesday, the Anganwadi worker would check what is it that the child has been given. In addition, initially we gave a questionnaire to all the mothers to understand their education level regarding nutrition. And then after 3 months, after the entire process, we gave the same questionnaire that was prepared by our UNICEF consultant, and we got an assessment done, which was very promising. Most of the mothers had misunderstood many things regarding nutrition that we were able to make them understand in the 3 months of our intervention. So as I have already mentioned, weight, height, growth charts recommended by WHO was provided to all. A baseline survey form that was developed by Tezpur Medical College. This is the one that UNICEF worked with. That was given. So we identified many reasons for why some children were affected, whereas some others weren't. Then we developed a diet chart. This is the chart that every child would be given to take home, child health report card. which would be monitored on a daily basis. Then we started giving livelihood support for the mothers. So we started off with a pilot project in one of the ICDS projects called Dangtol by distributing poultry to 140 identified families. This is part of the self-help group induction part. Then what we did is, we wanted to prove the point that not all SAM children are to be brought to the nutritional rehabilitation centers. We wanted to prove that SAM children can also be managed at the community level. Since this was basically protein energy malnutrition, we made a simple calculation that on a daily basis, the child should get protein. So on a particular day, it would be milk, the next day it would be egg. Like that, we started giving milk and eggs for 3 months for these children who are identified as SAM and MAM. And as we discussed earlier, we introduced the concept of buddy mothers, the mothers of the healthy children, who would in turn discuss with their buddy regarding what are the practices that could be taken up so that their children would also end up being healthy. And the last point here is that the mothers of MAM children, along with the SAM children, were included in the self-help groups. And all the self-help group activities that we have done it is through National Rural Livelihood Mission programs. So basically, my entire scheme is nothing but a convergence of existing government schemes. So so this slide is about SAM children. We identified 246 SAM children. 189's health condition improved to be normal at the end of our study. This is these results are only till December because our major intervention was only till December. But I can also give you data regarding what the situation of these children is now. That is 1 year after the intervention has happened. 27 are still SAM, and the children who have not converted from SAM or MAM have all been thoroughly checked by our health team, and majority identified to have some of the other health related problems, because of which simply an intervention by nutritionist will not be, or by community level also will not be sufficient. So they have been taken up by the nutritional rehabilitation centers and our specialist doctors. That also has been happening through a program called RBSK, Rashtriya Swasthya Karyakram. That is also another scheme by Government of India, which I have tied up with this existing scheme. So as you can see, in the month of September, we started off with a total of 246 SAM children. And at the end of December, we have 189 normal children and 28 MAM children. That means 27 stay back as SAM. That is 76.83% of conversion. This came as quite a surprise, pleasant surprise to us, because we weren't expecting anything of this range. We were hardly expecting 20-30% of conversion. This came as quite a surprise and proved to ourselves that this community level nutritional management is what can take us far, far ahead. In fact, you can see that just 1 month of intervention has made 23%, near about 1/4 of children normal. After 2 months, it is half, more than half in fact. After 3 months, it is 3/4 of the children or more who have become non-SAM. In this slide, I'm talking about moderate acute malnutrition in the same way as we spoke about SAM before. We can see that totally we had identified 2,170 MAM children, out of which 2,015 numbers, that is a huge 92.86%, have now not become MAM. I would like to point out that some of the MAM children end up becoming SAM. Despite our nutritional interventions, some of the MAM children end up becoming SAM, who would have anyway become SAM, because they have underlying health conditions, medical reasons, because of which they would have anyway become SAM. So these SAM children have also been subjected to health checkups and they are taken up under Rashtriya Bal Swasthya Karikram. So after a month, 35%, in fact 36% of children, and by 2 months, near about 70%, and by 3 months, near about 93%. So both added together, we have almost a success rate of almost 83%. These are simply some photographs. When we initially started the program, there was a bit of a resistance because women, the women were not expected to take part in income generating activities at all parts of the district. So it did take quite a lot of convincing. In fact, I started giving milk and eggs as perks to those women who were ready to work in the self-help groups. So since mothers were much interested in the nutritional status of their children, they readily came up. Then we did many series of meetings at every project level. These are some photos. This is something we have already discussed. The innovations that we have done here, we took the decision based on the data that we collected. Usually, usually such information is bogus. So we made an effort to actually go ahead and find out the data first. Then the second intervention is concept of buddy mother. Then the third is regarding convergence. As I discussed earlier, our scheme is totally dependent upon convergence of various government schemes which have finally led to income generation. Then we made nutritional awareness and monitoring committees which are still working. But I would also like to tell that these committees, since they are working now, when we made the calculation last September, we had around 2,400 children who were malnourished. But this September, when we did the assessment as part of the Rashtriya POSHAN Maah once again, we had only 159 children who were malnourished. I am sure that many of the MAM children who, if we had not intervened, would have ended up becoming MAM or SAM this time. And many of the SAM children, maybe we would have lost some of them, and some of them would have become MAM or SAM once again. That our challenge is really nutrition. Many people didn't understand because it was a disease per se, and they were so used to seeing this. Mothers many times didn't understand that their children were malnourished because, as we discussed earlier, the mother herself would have been a small mother, and the child would have been a low birth weight child, and this must have happened in her family before also. So she would have just presumed that this is the way it is. So when we measured and told many people that the child was malnourished, it was more like a big shock to them when they found out. The second point is about financial constraint, as I discussed in the beginning of the presentation, about how difficult it is for a family to spend 15 days outside their workplace with many family restrictions and economic restrictions. And of course, it involves a lot of coordination, right from the puja committees to the temples, to the masjids, to the gram sabhas, to the Anganwadi workers, up to me. So there are a lot of people who were involved. There are 2 points that we are now working on. Our project is now going to be released as a report. In the report will be released by Chief Minister, sir. So we are hoping that similar projects will be taken up in other districts in the country. We had discussed about the project with National Nutritional Mission Director also, who was part of the formulation of the project itself. So he is quite enthusiastic about it. The second good thing that has happened because the project took off was that there's this scheme called Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana is targeting increase in production of fish in all districts of the country. So what we did is these self-help groups that have been formed, we have linked them up with Matsya Sampada Yojana. And Matsya Sampada Yojana and Ministry of Fisheries and Government of India, luckily for us, had some fund for innovation. So we approached them and they have granted us that fund, using which we have now started bioflocks, solar dryers, carp monoculture, e-rickshaw, etc. as income generating activities to these self-help groups, which are constituted majorly by mothers of malnourished children. And we have signed an MOU between the Social Welfare Department and the Fisheries Department. Whatever income is generated, 50% would stay with Fisheries Department for functioning of the scheme, and 50% would go to Social Welfare Department, which would be raised as a corpus fund, from which we can provide more and more nutritious material to all the children who are identified as Sam and Ma'am in all our Anganwadis in the district. So this is a great achievement for the project that Government of India has recognized the effort that we have taken. In addition, National Nutrition Mission itself has given our project the tag of the session in the innovation category. So they also have now come up with a funding for more and more IEC activities, etc. So what we are now doing is we have now printed huge charts of WHO growth charts and put it at every Anganwadi center. That is going to be permanent there as part of our project. So once I am transferred out of the district also, and once my other officers are moving out of the district also, the project will stay forever. So every child will be measured against that chart instead of the regular growth chart, which might not be accurate. Ma'am, this is about my project. Shall I stop sharing the screen with everyone's permission? I shall leave the PPT here.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi Priyaji, for giving a very detailed information about this project and sharing your experience working under this project and several other important aspects, starting from genesis of the project, its structure, various levels under which the project is being operated, and taking care of other aspects, activities under this project, including those of self-help group activities, and how the nutrition management helps improving the overall situation, particularly the malnourished women and children. And finally, the innovation part, most importantly, the income generation. So this project has really served the dual purpose, enhancing the nutrition of undernourished children and women, and also making the women empowered.
Ma'am, may I interrupt for a minute, please, ma'am?
Yes, sure.
Ma'am, I had to make a point more. Ma'am, actually, in the district, we are doing various other interventions as well, various other innovations as well, ma'am. This is regarding other works regarding nutrition also, which is regarding dairy development and agriculture. Ma'am, since I was listening to Manju Sharma ma'am's words, I just wanted to tell you, ma'am, we have developed seedless lemon, Assam type seedless lemon, which we have now exported to various parts of the country and of the world, ma'am. When initially the demand for lemon, that was local lemon, was much less in the state itself, that is when we thought of exporting, ma'am. So these are all nutritional additive material, ma'am, very high source of vitamin C, as I'm sure everyone knows, and other nutritional components also, ma'am. We also have other projects, ma'am, like solar street lighting project, by which we are trying to reduce the carbon footprint, urban waste management project also done through self-help groups, ma'am, and ecotourism project. We also have an animal, ma'am, which is very much unique for our district. It's a golden langur, ma'am. It is an endangered species, so which is found only in the Bhutan foothills. So we have taken up a project for that, for conservation of that primate also. Ma'am, I wanted to request if National Academy of Sciences would be interested in working with the district administration in any of the projects or any other further projects that we may be able to take up. We would be very happy to do that.
Madam would like to say something. Honorable Madam. Okay. So we are very much thankful to you, Dr. Lakshmi Priyaji, for this very nice talk and also sparing your time in spite of your very busy schedule. And we are also very much thankful to Professor Lata Ranganji from IIT Guwahati, who made concerted efforts to get you enrolled, initiated in this very program and coordinated with Dr. Lakshmi Priyaji to represent the district administration and deliver this very important talk. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ma'am.
Indigenous foods are very much useful, and they are in fact the source of nutrients if they are included in our diet, and they play a very important role in enhancing our immunity, especially during the time of pandemic when everybody is talking of enhancing the immunity. We are moving towards next lecture to be delivered by Ms. Mandari M. Bla from St. Mary's College, Shillong, who will be speaking on incorporating indigenous superfoods in our daily diet. Dr. Mandari ji is an assistant professor, clinical nutrition and dietetics at St. Mary's College, Shillong. He has more than 10 years experience of teaching nutrition and dietetics. He has worked as dietitian in veterinary hospital for 6 years and visiting faculty at Nursing College at Northeastern Indira Gandhi Regional Institute of Health and Medical Sciences, Meghalaya. He has been a resource person in a number of orientation and training programs conducted by Food and Nutrition Board, Government of India, resource person for various nutrition programs conducted by Social Welfare Department, Government of Meghalaya. With this very brief introduction, I request Dr. Mandari ji to please deliver your talk. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello. Hello, and a very, very good afternoon to one and all present here. And I would like to thank you for your very warm introduction. And before I start with, respected chief guest, Professor Anupam Chatterjee, Professor Joshi, Professor P.S. Shukla, Professor Manju, and all our distinguished speakers who are present here, as well as the students who are the attendees of this today's webinar. I feel very honored to be invited to deliver a lecture on incorporating the indigenous superfoods in our daily diet. I would like to give a special thanks to Professor S.R. Joshi, who has been my guide and mentor, for giving me this opportunity in this platform, the National Academy of Science, India, NASI NER region, on the occasion of Poshan Maah, a celebration of the National Nutrition Month. And as you know, the theme of this 2001 Poshan Maah is feeding smart right from start. So let us take this to mark to fight against malnutrition. So once again, a very warm welcome to all and a very good afternoon. So before I start with, I would take your permission to kindly allow me to share my screen. Can you all see my screen? Any response?
No, it's not visible, Dr. Manda.
Okay, let me just start sharing again.
Stop.
Yes, kindly let me know if you can.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Okay. So I will be talking about incorporating indigenous superfoods in our daily diet. So here you can see the pictures of few of our indigenous local Khasi, the local food, the local indigenous food that we take. So as we all know that food is represented symbolically as a part of our cultural trait of every ethnic community. The cultural background determines what should be eaten, when it should be eaten, and how it should be eaten. And we just go to the slides. Okay. So, any hold on, I'll just here. Okay. Now, indigenous tribal groups live in an environment which is characterized by defined areas with specific food habits, dialect, cultural homogeneity, and a unified social organization. Ethnic heritage and tradition are the strongest influence on food choices. The Khasis of Meghalaya, they are an important tribe of the biodiversity of the rich Northeast India. Our staple food is rice, maize, potato, and other locally grown vegetables and fruits. For centuries, the Khasis have used indigenous wild plants to satisfy their requirements for energy and essential nutrients. Traditional foods are those foods which are easily accessible by the indigenous people from the local and natural environment through their traditional knowledge of farming, harvesting, hunting, and gathering, as stated by Quinnell in the year 2009. Indigenous foods are acquired from the natural environment and from the cultural food pattern of indigenous people. The Khasi tribe of the Northeast India consume many indigenous food in their regular diet. So the importance of these indigenous food is that they are a good source of both macro and micronutrients, vitamin A, D, C, minerals such as iron, calcium, zinc. All these were analyzed. The local indigenous foods were were analyzed and were documented, and suggesting that they are either comparable or even more superior than the commonly consumed cultivars. This was a study which was conducted by Agrahar Murkar in the year 2006, and a number of authors who have documented the nutritional values of our indigenous food, stating that they are foods which are which will bring towards sustainability because they are rich sources of both micro and macronutrients. The wide varieties of wild edibles which are used by the Khasis could be a good source of nutrients to combat malnutrition and to provide diet diversification. So as well mentioned right from the start that our main aim is we would like to fight against malnutrition, and using or incorporating these local indigenous superfoods can go hand in hand to combat malnutrition. But the sad part is that, therefore, the dietary incorporation of these indigenous resources could be highly advantageous to nutritionally marginalized or marginal populations, or to specific vulnerable group within the populations. But recently, it has been observed that the tradition, the culture of these communities, including the knowledge, the uses of all these wild plants or the indigenous plants, they are rapidly changing. The transition from traditional to commercial diet has caused an energy imbalance, which further leads to many health implications. However, most of the reported data on nutrients on indigenous foods indicate that they're a very good source of nutrients. But we have seen that there is a drastic change in our eating pattern. Why this is happening? This could be because of the other cultures, because of the rapid changing through the contact with other cultures, where there's a loss of these traditional values, the knowledge of the native plants, the knowledge of the indigenous plants. The dietary deficiencies were seen now. Then we can also see there's a decrease in the use of these traditional the indigenous plants. Among the Khasis in Shillong, as in other countries, the change in food habits can be attributed because of the availability of different types of food products, prepared as well as packed food, which can in turn be linked to a variety of diet-related health conditions, ranging from malnutrition to overweight and obesity. It has been observed that there are various factors, including the advertisement, the peer pressure, the socio-economic conditions, which affects the decision and the preference for certain types of food in adolescents, especially seen in adolescents. Evidently, there's a marked difference in the choices between the males and the females. Dietary deficiencies of carotene, calcium, iron has been observed in the community. Shillong has really seen a drastic change with the Western ideas and culture slowly infusing into society. This has also led to a change in the way how people perceive food. Culturally, our diet was very, very simple. They have both vegetarian as well as non-vegetarian, with no religious or cultural prohibitions on the consumptions of any food in general. The typical foods of the Khasis consume consists mainly of the meat, the vegetables, fish, wild edible plants, with rice being the staple food. But urbanization has brought about a change in the lifestyle and the mindset of the people, which also have influenced their food selection and preference. The local population, upon urbanization, they tends to develop an acquired taste of Western ways and eventually even the food habits. There has been a change in the food habits, and these has definitely had a negative effect on their health. What we have done is we have conducted a simple survey consisting of the 100 college-going students, both 100 males and 100 females. And we would like to proceed, we conducted a survey to find out why traditional foods is losing their market to fast food. And what was the choice? Would they prefer the fast food or the traditional food? The first slides which I am showing you is a study which shows that 62% strongly agree that traditional food is losing a market to fast food. This is a sad part because we have seen that these indigenous superfoods, they are rich in various micro and macronutrients. And the sad part is people are going towards the fast food. At this survey, which we have conducted, we found that the traditional foods are facing a very tough competition. I feel this is a right platform since we have many college going students, and this was a study which is conducted here in Shillong. We found that this was the thing that the traditional foods are really facing a very tough competition. So again, to the next slide is regarding the why is it that the fast food are more tastier? The fact is that they due to the presence of the additives, the food, the taste enhancers, and people are more likely to overeat fast food, and this will bring a negative impact to their health. Again, from this we found that 55% agree. Okay, and here we have 20.33% who strongly agrees that yes, fast food tastes much better because of the presence of these food enhancers or the food tasters additives, which improves the taste of the food, but definitely it will lead to some negative health effects. And in another, during the survey, we also inquired to find out the additions of food additives. Most of the people do not know about the different types of additives and their health impact. And this is the reason why they don't care and they keep on consuming all these fast foods because they have very, very less idea. Okay, it's like 56.67% who strongly agree that you know that sorry, who do not really know. Most of the people do not know about the different types of food additives and their health impact. Here we found that yes, when a question was asked that is fast food linked to disease, there is a general agreement that fast food are bad to one's health, but the taste enhancer, the taste additives present in these fast food, they are rich in the fats, the deep fried items, the saturated fats, the taste enhancers, the additives makes these food very tastier. They are easily available. Fast foods are mushrooming in every corner, and this is the reason their availability is easy. So this is the reason we found that the consumption of these fast food or the change in the eating pattern from the traditional eating pattern has really dropped down. Now to continue with this, I would like to highlight the importance of these local superfoods, the indigenous superfoods. Here I would like to share with you that we have certain indigenous plants that are very good, and we have Sesamum indicum and Perilla pastician. They showed to be a very high, they have a very high content of protein. The protein content here is very high, as well as the total fat. They're very good. And the highest dietary fiber is found in Pontilla polyphylla, which is also having a very good iron content. This I've just taken few of these food which were analyzed. The nutrient content were analyzed, and they found that look at the fiber content, look at the iron, protein, they're very good. So we have to encourage the incorporation of these local indigenous food in our daily diet. Let it not die, but we have to revive them. We have to encourage the consumption of these local indigenous superfoods. This is a study which was conducted by Daniela A. Khan in collaboration with NIN Hyderabad. Again, we have seen that this is a recipe where we can use the sesame seeds, which was shown in the previous slide. We have the Perilla frutescens, which can be incorporated, which was usually incorporated in our traditional diet for making a rice pulao. And look at the nutritional values when it is calculated. These nutritional values are all the ingredients which goes into this pulao. Look at the protein content, okay? The carbohydrate and the calcium, iron, very good source. So analyzing and finding out the nutritional composition will encourage people and to opt and to go for these local foods, incorporating them into their daily diet. Again, here, I would just like to show you the nutritional composition, showing just the highlights of which nutrients, like protein, which has its maximum, the nutrient composition, which shows the rich source. And look at this. After the nutrient were analyzed, it was found that the tit kajatsiar, locally known as the tit kajatsiar, is a mushroom variety, and this was found to be a very high in protein per 100 grams. It gives around 29.39. The naili that we have talked about, the perilla, we found that this oil seeds has a total fat of 23.83. The best part is this fat here is not a saturated fat, but it's polyunsaturated fats. The dietary fibers here, the thymine content here, it is very high. You can see. And these are just highlights that we have taken a few of the locally superfoods and in which nutrients they are rich in. Again, we found another here that the iron content, Wang. This is the colocasia stem, and we found, look at the iron content, 55.24. Incorporating this in the diet of the adolescent boys and girls, where we see in a number of studies that the incidence of anemia is very high. Incorporating these local foods can help to fight deficiency diseases. This is manganese, very rich in the sopla, locally called the sopla, 9.03. Okay, so here I'm just showing you, highlighting you to show how these local foods are very rich in the nutrient content. Here are few of the macronutrients contents of some green leafy vegetables which are locally available. This is their local name and the botanical name. And here we see these are just the three major nutrients which were analyzed. We hope that we can also collaborate and we can have more further analysis for the micro nutrients as well. So these are the local green leafy vegetables that whose nutrient contents were analyzed, and you will look at, if we look at this, we'll see that they're very good in protein as well as the fiber content here. So this is about the green leafy vegetables. Now we have another, this is in continuation with the previous slide, the amount of protein, fats and fiber which were analyzed. Okay, this is the protein, the fat and the fiber content of these local green leafy vegetables, and these are seasonally available. Here we have, this is a very popular item of our local tribe, where we have the fermented food. The fermented food, we have the tungrumbai, it's a fermented soybeans. Lung sage is the fermented bamboo shoot, and the fermented dry fish. Here is the nutritional values, and these are the recipes which we can make out of these fermented fermented food products. Fermented food, sorry. Okay, the nutritional values were taken from a study which was conducted by Agrahar Murkur and Subbalakshmi. Now, the food, as we know, varies from region to regions, from tribe to tribes. The dishes of the people from each region, from this region, actually, they are not laced with oil and spices, yet they are very delicious. The locally grown aromatic herbs make them exotic. They are very light and easy to prepare. Simplicity is in fact, is the hallmark of our Northeast cuisine. So I would like to highlight here a few of the recipes of our local Khasi tribes we have here. This is the pumaloi, which is made up of rice flour, and then just a steamed rice flour. And we see here, look at the fat content, and this is made up of the white sticky rice. And it can be made also with the colored rice, like the red rice and the purple rice. And when we analyzed the nutritional value, we found that they have more of the antioxidant property here. And here is the simple white sticky rice. And look at the nutritional values here, just to indicate that they are quite very healthy, a very good source of breakfast cereals, which can be, but this particular food is now being replaced by the they're now replaced by the other foods, and this is no longer a breakfast cereals in most of the household. Therefore, we would like to encourage to revive the use of these traditional food. We have another one which is called the putharo. This is also of a similar kind, where we just have to steam, and there is no additions of any fats or oils, making this a very good a very good breakfast item. Here is its nutritional values. And here also we can see that the protein, the fat is very low. Protein is 3.7. It has a very good calcium based on the type of rice which is used here. Here is another variety. This is also another variety of the cereal product, and this is where we used Perilla frutescens as is incorporated here together with the cereals. But for this, you will see that the fat content is high because it is fried in oil. So this is the calcium content. It's a very good source of calcium as well as iron. Another one is also a cereal product where we used rice, powdered rice flour incorporated with jaggery, and this is called the puklin. This is also a local traditional Khasi snacks, which can be consumed either at breakfast or as a tea time snacks. Here is its nutrient content. These nutrient content which were here, they are analyzed according, they were calculated using the Indian food composition table, and this nutrients is a total of all the ingredients that goes into the preparation. This is a yam, the purple variety, and this is boiled, and this is also very, very, this is rich in calcium, very rich in calcium. It is having a good source of, it's a very good source of calcium, and this can be boiled and eaten, and it is usually served with the tea time snacks. This is another variety where we don't use any oil. It's similar to the puklin that I have shown to you earlier, but here we don't use any oil in this preparation. And look at the fat content here. It is less because we don't use any oil. It is only the rice flour mixed with jaggery and wrapped in a leaf called the slamet. And this leaf is, and after it, it's wrapped in a leaf, it is steamed. So this is steaming is used in this preparation. And this, since we've added jaggery, it has a good amount of iron. Here we have another very popular putendong, which is a rice-based preparation, and a powdered rice is used in the bamboo stick, and it is a bland in taste, but it is heated in the fire. Just keep the bamboo, the powdered rice is inserted in the bamboos, and then heat it in the fire, and this is how it retains the shape of the bamboo here and the fat content here. So, you know, looking at all these traditional snacks items, which I have just shown to you, you will see that the fat content where in most of the snacks where we don't use oil in the preparation, mainly steaming, dry heat method of preparation, most of these snacks, also the traditional snacks, they have very less amount of oil content. Hence, it is a very ideal snacks which can be incorporated. We have another one called this, the jasholia, which is a sticky rice. In this, we see that this is another variety of rice, the red rice. This is a sticky rice. It has 4 milligram per calcium, a very good source of calcium and as well as iron. And this rice is made just by the steaming. And in a similar way, what we do is the rice was soaked in water for some times and for 2 to 3 hours. And then we wrapped it in a leaf called the slamet, after which it is steamed. This is a non-veg item where we use a little bit of pork in between. This is steamed. And here also there is no fats, or sorry, no oils added to it. Steaming is a method of preparation, and this is its nutritional content. This is also a non-veg traditional snacks. Another one, this is the Jamardo, a chameleon plant, and many studies have been still going on to find, and this is a very good antiviral. So we hope that we will be able to come to a conclusion and get results regarding the use of this chameleon plant. It has an antiviral property, and this is its nutrient content. You see, this is the chameleon plant. This is served as a salad. It is incorporated with tomatoes and onions and served as a fresh salad. These are the chameleon, these are the roots of the chameleon plant. This is served as a chutney, and it has a very nice flavor, but one has to get an acquired taste to love the taste of this because of the strong flavor. This is made into a chutney, the chameleon roots. I've just selected a few. There are so many standardized recipes that I have worked on. And then this is wang panai. This is served as a salad. This is colocasia, the stem. You look at this, you will see that the calcium content here is quite high. And also it has a very good amount of the micronutrients. Therefore, in so many studies, it was found that these local foods, the local indigenous superfoods are rich in many micronutrients, and which can be a very good source, a very good way to incorporate it in our daily diet to fight many micronutrient deficiencies. This is the fermented bamboo shoot, the fermented food. The fermented bamboo shoot can be prepared in the form of a pickle, in a form of a chutneys, and here it's its nutrient composition. Here is the fermented soybean called the tungrumbai. This is the fermented soybean, and this can be prepared in the form of a chutney like this, and here it's its nutritional values. Yes, excuse me, anything I can. Okay, so I don't know if I'm running out of time. Okay, I will just come to the conclusion that I would like to conclude by saying that these indigenous people has a food system which have a critical role to play in forming a wider transition to sustainable and equitable food system. Indigenous food system seeks to ensure future food security, and the importance of indigenous foods as a source of macro and micronutrients should be spelled out, and the wide varieties of indigenous superfoods used by the Khasis could be a good source of nutrients to combat malnutrition and to provide a diet diversification. With this, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. It was really a very nice presentation as it was pointed towards the ethnic diversity of the food as well as the utilization of the local food resources and the vegetation for the enhancement of the nutritional values of our food products and daily dietary regime. Really, many good products have been shown by you, which has been prepared by your lab or by your agency. But the one thing I would like to mention here, because if possible, if you could send us the list of all those food products which you have prepared, so that we could include us in our program and
Okay.
for further dissemination of the knowledge, because ethnic biodiversity and ethnic food are very much in demand.
Yes,
So we
sir.
will also try to push it by disseminating the knowledge among the fellows and members of the. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. It's indeed a great
Now
pleasure
we
for me
have
to share. Thank
now
you.
thank you very much. Now we have Professor Madhulika Agrawal, the chairperson of NASI Varanasi chapter, as well as former professor and head of Department of Botany, Banaras Hindu University. She is a plant geneticist and as well as a plant physiologist and she has worked a lot in the area of the plant sciences, food and nutrition. For last 2-3 years, she is directly connected with the field programs for the food and nutrition through the chapter NASI Varanasi chapter. She has went to several places in the remote areas of the BHU to convince the people there, the ethnic diversity there, even to the tribals, to convince them to utilize their own resources, their own food products for the better health and nutrition. So I request you, madam, to please give your talk, especially on the NASI's efforts in helping the underprivileged keeping nutritionally fit. And this program was also started by Honorable Madam Manju Sharma ji. And under this program, this Varanasi chapter has taken the programs for the remote area. Madam Madhulka Agrawal ji, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Neeraj ji. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
madam.
most respected Madam Manju Sharma ji, the main torch bearer of this particular program through NASI in the entire country, and of course guiding me in each and every step. So I'm very thankful to her for giving us this opportunity to work on that, and also very thankful to the NASI for giving me this opportunity of speaking the efforts of NASI in helping the underprivileged keeping nutritionally fit. We all know that malnutrition is a very important problem of this country, not only this country, the entire world. And if you see in the newspaper, there is always a huge public outcry regarding the malnutrition in India. Looking into this problem, last year, this Poshan Maah was launched by our revered Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, who stressed the importance of proper nutrition in building a prosperous nation. You know, nutrition is so much linked with our immunity, our health, and our response to various stresses, including the mental stress. And that is how he has asked the people to contribute towards a malnutrition-free India. And that is why the Holistic Nutrition Abhiyan or National Nutrition Mission became the central government's flagship program to improve nutritional outcomes, mainly for the children, pregnant women, and lactating mothers. They also suggested that we need to build a healthy lifestyle by adopting holistic nutrition and yoga in our lifestyle. Well, as I said, NASI took up this challenge and started implementation of this Poshan Abhiyan. And who is the torchbearer of this Abhiyan? Under the guidance of Dr. Manju Sharma, the chairperson, NASI's all new initiatives in India. And then, cut it short, the Varanasi chapter received a grant for implementation of Poshan Abhiyan for 6 months among underprivileged sector of the society. What we did during that program, that we, in order to continue the nutritious food habit, seeds of 10 vegetables, which are very rich in various nutrients, they were procured from Institute of Vegetable Research, Varanasi, and the fertilizers and the vermicompost, they were distributed among the beneficiaries, which were, 150 in numbers. Awareness for the Nutri-Garden concept was raised to provide access to nutritious vegetables and also to support their livelihood. I must mention at this point of time that this Nutri-Garden concept is very widely present in Northeast, but it was not that widely known to the people in the plain. So we started doing on this account with the help of NASI's effort. We did identification of the biodiversity for the health and nutritional benefits, as well as the standardization of various agronomic practices for cultivation of wild edibles. I will show you some of those. Just our previous speaker spoke about that in the Northeast. I'll also show that how we are doing it in Varanasi region. And again, simplified preparation of various culinary delicacies using neglected and wild edibles for averting malnutrition and anemia were suggested to those ladies. We have a home science professor in our team also to suggest on these things. Then, with the help of NASI's support, vitamins, minerals and protein supplements, iron and calcium tablets, even sanitary napkins, masks and sanitizers were distributed to the women and the girls, 115 numbers, as per the advice of health experts. We have a gynae professor also in our team, so we take help of her in all our movement or organizing any kind of program over there. The beneficiaries were divided into 4 age groups, 0 to 5 because they need drops, then 5 to 12, then 12 to 18, and then more than 18. And special attention was paid to have those who are pregnant women and the lactating mothers. These are some of the snapshots during that program. That's activities conducted by NASI Varanasi chapter. And in this Poshan Abhiyan, we distributed all these vitamins and protein supplements and then calcium and iron. And we purchased all these things from a government beneficiary shop where we get 60% of the reductions in their prices, and we could help more number of ladies in this. There are students and one of the colleague PC Abhilash who was helping me in this distribution, and you will be surprised to know that these distributions were done when the corona was at peak in September in 2020. This is again in some other village because we cannot call all the ladies at one place. So we generally go to any Panchayat Bhavan or in any such areas where we have talked about those how to go about that. And if you are able to see, there is a bag in which they are holding even the things that also we have tried to inculcate them to not to use the plastics, rather than they should have a bag to keep all these things and move when they go out. This is about our Poshan Abhiyan. We were talking to the ladies directly. Our medical team did other kind of treatment to them, looking into their problems of anemia or looking into their problems of some calcium deficiency or that kind of thing. So we went for almost 3 to 4 days every month, right from 18 September 2020 to 18 February 2021 under this Poshan Abhiyan, which was financed by the National Academy of Sciences under the guidance of Madam Manju Sharma. This is also not only that, in some of the schools we went during winter, and we also encouraged the students to know all these things, and also distributed masks to them so that they may keep themselves away from this pandemic. There was a lot of media coverage. There are a lot of Hindi media coverage which I am not giving you, but you can see one of them, Kuposhit Mahilaon or Bachchon Mein Bati Divaiyan. So it was very important event which has happened because of the NASI's effort in this area. I will not go into that. We know all these things, but certainly I will tell you one more NASI's effort. We have received a project entitled Improving the Health, well-being and livelihood of tribal women in Mirzapur district of Eastern UP. And this was funded by NASI under they convene various activities, but this was under the welfare of scheduled tribes under NASI ST subplan, and with the objectives to identify, popularize, and field gene creation of nutrient-rich wild edibles for improving the health and well-being of tribal women, and also preparation and standardization of value-added products for wild edibles. So I'll just quickly go through some of those examples. I will not go in much detail. These are various leafy vegetables which we have found with our conversation with the local people and our own identification, like tickweed, then fenugreek, then cabbage leaf mustard, then telenium water leaf, then young leaf of moringa. This you all get everywhere. Then this is lesua. It is commonly known as lesua, but this is Digeria muricata. Then colocasia giganteum, then Bacilla alba. So all these leafy vegetables, they are growing over there. Some of them are being utilized by the tribal people, but for all of them, they were not growing. So this is one thing with that project. Then diversity of underutilized and neglected fruit crops, in which we have falsa, this artocarpus you all can recognize very well. Then this caronda, which is Carissa corundus, then Phalanthus umbilica amla. Then this is very common in that area, that bale or Egel marmoras. Then this Annona squamousa, and all these were there. And this whole area is having diverse kind of underutilized food crops, but they were not knowing the nutritional significance of these fruits. So we had workshops over there, and we let them know this, that you increase this in your diet and have some nutritional benefits. Then the diversity of underutilized and neglected tuber crops. I'm sure many of these tuber crops like Dioscorea bulbifera or Ipomia batatus, which is sweet potato, these must be there in the other areas of India, including the northeast over there. So for them also we conducted nutrient analysis and other, and we have shown them. We also, the home science professor, she helped them to know various kind of culinary item, which are especially, this winged bean is very, very popular in that area. It's very commonly found in almost all houses, also on their huts or up there. So we also showed that how much nutrient rich this particular winged beans are. So we also did, just like earlier speaker, the nutrient profile of the wheel, and we found it is having the immature seeds, the mature seeds, the leaves, and the tuber. Especially if you find that energy is very high in the mature seed as well as in the tuber. It's high in calcium. It's high in iron, phosphorus, which is generally we don't get with all kind of vegetables, potassium, sodium, zinc. So these kind of information we give so that they start taking more this winged beans in their diet. This is again a bean which is called as sword bean. This sword bean is also having high vitamin C, high calcium, and even this niacin. So these kind of things we show them also, and we also collect and put in our library also, that what are new things which are found. This, I'm sure this is present in northeastern area also. Then this wild cucumber. Now wild cucumber is also having high nutrient like sodium, calcium, and magnesium. So we also showed them how to dry it properly, so that its nutrient contents can be maintained. Then well, this you all know that Amaranthus crotanthus is now, is popularized as a pseudo cereal, and it has very high vitamin contents, almost all of them. If you see over here, I'm not going to go in much detail of this. And also in the minerals, the calcium is very high. So instead of taking a calcium supplements, if different items can be prepared, even, like a soup is having quite high level of these minerals if it is not cooked too much. Pearl millet, this is, I know this must be very common in all over India. So pearl millet is also now these days a wonder food, and very rich in vitamins and the minerals. Then this is one very important leafy crop which is called as Indian spinach. And this Indian spinach is having much higher iron content or the amino acids as compared to the spinach which we are usually get in the markets. Again, amaranthus. For amaranthus also we performed various analysis and found it quite nutritious. But they were not using amaranthus too much, but we said that there are different varieties of amaranth. One is having basically the red colored leaves. This one is more having the green colored leaves. So we let them know the differences among them and then contents over there. So this whole study, I want to conclude in saying that wild crop plants are nutritionally rich and therefore useful for averting malnutrition by dietary diversification. That is something important. Large scale exploitation of such species are essential, especially in those areas where the nutrient supplements are really not available, or they cannot buy it, because all the time the free supplementation is not possible in such remote areas. And then most importantly, such resilient varieties can be used for future breeding program, which is more of a scientific use, thereby preparing next generation climate smart crops. Because those areas are very dry, they are very rocky areas, but still these wild plants are growing there well, and they are having very high nutrient content despite other stresses around. So domestication of undomesticated wild and neglected crop is essential to avert the future pandemics, especially for underprivileged population. So I'm going to stop over there, here only. And I would like to mention that right now, I have come from a program which we are doing it at the end of this Poshan Maah, and we are interacting again in the same way with the ladies which are nearby villages of Varanasi, and especially one of the village is also adopted by our Prime Minister, who is the Member of Parliament from Varanasi. And I once again thank Madam Manju Sharma and the NASI for giving me opportunity to speak, and also giving me various kind of projects so that I can do this kind of work for the underprivileged of the society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for such a very nice, brief but very nice talk, encompassing all the activities which you are doing for the betterment of the village and the underprivileged areas, and especially with the utilization of the local resources, local food crops, and local vegetables, and their product development as well as manifestation of their attributes, the nutrient attributes which the crops have. Thank you very much, and narrating the brief history of the project as well as the NASI's. We are really grateful to you. Madam Manju Sharma, madam, will you say something, madam? We are going to end the things. Unmute कर दीजिए, madam. नहीं, अभी नहीं हुआ, अभी नहीं हुआ मैडम।
आप सुन रहे हैं?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So we have had a very lively discussion and a very valuable points which have come out of these presentations in the last 2 to 3 hours. All the presentation have brought out one common point, that malnutrition is a very serious matter and it has to be tackled, whether we are in Northeast, whether we are in South, we are in Varanasi or any other place. So that is one point which has come out very clearly. I was very impressed with the program which was presented by on the Mandari Blaine, the program which was presented by her. She gave all the traditional plants and items which could be used for malnutrition. And that I think is a very helpful thing. We will get the list from her and try to distribute. But the important point about the program was given by Srimati Lakshmi Priya ji is that success module which she demonstrated, and that success module is replicable and very easily administrable. So it can be sort of replicated in other parts of the country, and I think she's going to do that. She's already preparing a report. So that was also an excellent presentation. Madhurika ji, certainly, I don't have to praise her because she always does a very, very meticulous job, and she has presented what NASI has supported her for the last few years. And most important point which all of you must have noticed is that even during Corona pandemic, Madhurika was going into the village areas, directly interacting with the people. That is the courageous approach which she has taken, and she has always been very successful in these programs. So, Neeraj, I think this is one more very important program which we have got in the NASI's umbrella. And the last one we had NIA in Hyderabad, and that was again superb. You remember our president said that we should get those lectures published. And similarly, today's paper program was very, very meticulously done. And I hope it will be also put on the YouTube so that people can see, more children can see, more scientists can view it. So that's what I want to say. Thank you all.
Thank you, madam, for concluding the things with a very brief but precise remark and relevant remark. Actually, because all the speakers did their job very well, and many things we got during this webinar that would be circulated among the fellowship also later on. One thing I would like to request, madam, very humbly, because we are organizing this science society programs now, more than 40 places now we have identified where the programs will be there. Can we do something to organize the chapters in such a way that every chapter could take the local projects on nutrition, especially the awareness and using the local dialects and the identification of the local herbs and vegetables and all those. So such a programs, madam, you please, I request you to please think about that so that we could discuss later on and finalize the things accordingly, because it will be a great outcome of this program which you have initiated.
And we should also do, Dr. Joshi, one program in Sikkim, which is due, and we can club it with the Poshan and also with the other aspects of biodiversity there.
Sure, I'm just waiting for your, yeah. once you get a little better with your health, because I know how much you are stressing, and we appreciate, and we have no words to express. In fact, now you are here for 3 hours with us, and we very well know, your commitment to this. We will not be able to, really even do 10% of what you are committed, man. Once you give us some signal about Sikkim, we'll join biodiversity and Poshan, where today's program has brought out so efficiently. So we'll do it in Sikkim once. We would like to have you there, because without you, I don't want to do it. Once you get a little better and recover from, the thing, just indicate. We will do that. They are waiting for us, in fact. And
But we had a very good program drawn for Sikkim, and we will try and approach the same speakers.
sure, man. Sure.
Sikkim people were also very happy. And we had very distinguished people like Professor Pramod Tandon and others. So let's try to do that.
Sure.
Neeraj, there is one program which we had in Hyderabad, and I want to tell the Northeast people also, that was about the millets, if you remember. And there was a director of the millet program of ICAR. He presented and he showed all the qualities of millets which are so relevant for combating the malnutrition. And he said more and more use of the millets will automatically bring down the malnutrition factor. And I would like that particular aspect to be taken note of in the Northeast program also. A big program on the millets.
Sure.
And or any other course grade which Dr. Joshi and other experts can think of. And Archana, we wanted that director to give more presentations in our NASI seminars. You remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So that millets program is becoming very important. And you must be knowing that government is giving so much emphasis on the production of millets in different regions of the country. And this was about pearl millet he talked in great detail.
Yes, ma'am.
The bajra.
Ji.
So thank you, Neeraj, and you can now go ahead.
Thank you, madam. Anybody from the distinguished participants? Because I saw Professor Kambosar also here. Professor Shubhraji is here. So anybody, if you want to make some comment, quick comment.
So, Neeraj ji, I would like to tell that before beginning, Madam said about the training of the Northeast students from NIPGR. So I just want to share with all of you is that we have started one human resource development cell at NIPGR this year onward. And we are doing a lot of webinars, but from January, I guess that the situation will be good. And we are going to start from January an NIPGR workshop and seminar series, and which will be extended everybody in the country. And I would be remembering about Madam's wish, and definitely I'll let NASI know about all these programs so that the Northeast students can join our NIPGR series, which we are going to start from January. This is one, but at the same time, already we have many students who have graduated from NIPGR from that region, and we regularly get students as a postdoc and PhD scholars from, mostly from Tejpur University. Some comes from also Guwahati. So NIPGR is already attached, and our students have become faculty. That's our pride. Tejpur and also in some other university in Northeast. So we already are connected. I'll remember this. My second point is I was hearing about that Sampurna program, which was said as the first lecture in this series. And as you all know, nutrition is very close to my heart. So I really did not miss any of these programs in last 1 year. Tried to be there in every program, but somehow I missed the Hyderabad program. I'll get the things from Neeraj from you and Archana. And one thing is that the Sampurna program, possibly I'll try to come up, something comes in my mind that we can also, why know about the traditional food, how that is increasing the nutrition after they made some kind of a, milk and egg supplements, and the data that she showed, that's giving really increase in the nutrition. So I was thinking of taking that NASI's thing has gone from the chapters, which is to the, community level. So now little bit having the strength from sitting at an IPPR, if we can club that societal thing with little bit with the, the scientific knowledge behind that. So something I will come up and share, and definitely before telling, I'll talk to madam. So these are 2 points I wanted to mention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Most welcome. We'd like to have that. Thank you, madam. Anybody else? Professor Kamboj, sir. Namaskar, sir.
In another meeting up to 12 o'clock, and after this, because I didn't know that meeting will be over by 12. That's till 12:30 or 12:40, but that's over. And after that, I joined this program and enjoyed it. Particularly the Northeast diet presented by Mandari, and then Madhulka ji summed what is available in the local areas over there. Really enjoyed the program.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Seth, would you like to say something?
Professor Seth, sir. Sir, please unmute yourself.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think this was a very, very interesting and very informative, all these lectures which we had. And also what Madhulka ji in the end showed, the efforts of the NASI which has been done. I think it's a creditable whole thing which is there. And I would feel that some kind of booklet may be brought out on the NASI's efforts, and that could be having all those information which have transpired so far, the presentation, and what Pra mentioned about the future, about the training program. In that booklet, a small announcement can be made there. And I was thinking, besides the millets, this moringa flower, this also has a lot of protein in it, and it has been also, government is pushing for it. So some details about moringa flower can also be included in the future program when we have. And I think this is activity which should be carried out, and because malnutrition is not going to end so soon. And very recently on the World Heart Day, there was a paper on the Mediterranean diet is very good for the heart patients, for the keeping your heart healthy. And I think India has done a lot of work. So Mediterranean diet, I think if something and from the POSHAN Abhiyan, something can come up that these are the diets which will keep you healthy and going around. Satayu jo hoti hamare yahan, us tak le jayegi. I think that kind of thing can also be considered. So with this, I thank for this opportunity and really enjoyed all the presentation, and I congratulate all the presenters for this. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. And especially for giving your inputs regarding the booklet production also. Actually, this has been decided also actually in the earlier meeting that we will have that, but it will take some time because we have to organize other things also with this nutrition program, about which I was just requesting madam to make it a campaign for all over the country with our chapters and the fellows and because this is really, as mentioned by yourself and others, this malnutrition is a very big problem and very long problem. It is right from our independence, and yet it is existing. That is very unfortunate. So we'll try to do that, and madam will guide us how to make this program more successful and more forceful. So in the end, before requesting Archana ji to express the vote of thanks, I will just like to summarize this. कोशिशें हमारी जारी रहेंगी, कोशिशें हमारी जारी रहेंगी, पर समस्या बड़ी और पुरानी। कोशिशें हमारी जारी रहेंगी, पर समस्या बड़ी और पुरानी है। अगर सभी हाथ बटा लें हौसले के साथ, अगर सभी हाथ बटा लें हौसले के साथ, तो फिर बात जरूर बन जाएगी। थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir.
I will just,
On behalf
Neeraj,
of the National Academy of Sciences, India, I
Archana, just 1 second. I would like to say one thing and request Shubhra to work out, because government is distributing per person 5 kilo of rice, 5 kilo of wheat, 2 kilos of rice, and 1 kilo of lentils per month to every person. If everybody takes all those things, won't they get a nutritious diet? Why is the malnourishment so high in this country? But that is the distribution pattern. And then to the poor people, wheat is available at 2 rupees a kilo, rice at 3 rupees a kilo, and lentils at 1 rupee a kilo per month. Then why malnutrition? Do they waste and sell all these things to somebody else? Or do they drink so much that we still have a lot of malnourished in this country? I request Shubhra that their institute work out this, find out and say how much calories each one, because I have seen that everybody gets around about 2,200 calories if they take only this diet, which is distributed by the government.
Dr. Kamboj, but all the states are not distributing this food grains. Only at the moment we know of UP and probably Chennai, where some rice is given. In Delhi, there is no distribution, and you see a large number of malnourished children in the juggi jhopadis and all around the places. So this ration is being given only in few states, and UP is the lucky one.
So,
This is the sad part.
Dr. Kambaj, I also echo the same thing. I know in Calcutta it was given, but it was given for some time, but now it stopped. Now no more thing is being given. And at the same time, if you think for a family, if they are getting 5 kilo rice
per person.
No, sir, it was not
5
given
kilo wheat per person, 1 kilo rice, 1 kilo lentil. Look into the program. Now, what the states distribute is a secondary thing, but that is the provision.
Yeah, that I agree.
Sir,
But
sir, you are right, sir. But it is limited to few states only, and few moments only, especially before the election.
No, but this is all throughout this. I think this program is for the last 1.5 years, and from the time COVID-19 started, and there was no unemployment, so that's why the government initiated this program. Now, if the states don't let it reach the people, that's the unfortunate thing. Okay. चलिए अर्चना जी conclude
So
करिए.
I thank everyone for being with us. First and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude to Honorable Madam. We cannot thank her, but we express our profound regards. And as Dr. Joshi ji had just mentioned that in spite of her health issues, she is always with us and guiding us on various aspects. So we are really thankful to her for guiding us and for her immense contributions to all the activities and also this Poshan Abhiyan of NASI. We are also thankful to our Honorable President, for her kind support and cooperation in all the activities. I express my sincere thanks to all the distinguished speakers, Dr. M.S. Lakshmi Priya ji, Ms. Mandari ji, and Professor Madhulika Agarwal ma'am for sparing their time, accepting our request and sharing their expertise on various aspects of nutrition. We are all very much thankful to them. Professor P.S. Shukla ji, the Vice Chancellor of NEHU, also joined us and he also enlightened us on various aspects of malnutrition. So we are very much thankful to him. I would like to express my sincere thanks to Professor Anupam Chatterjee sir for joining us and sparing his time. And on behalf of NASI and my own behalf, I express my sincere gratitude to Professor S.R. Joshi sir, the Secretary of NER Chapter, for his very kind cooperation and in fact for developing this program and coordinating with all the speakers. So thank you very much sir for all your kind support and help, due to which this event could be successfully organized. And we are very much thankful to Professor Lata Ranganji, although she was not directly included in this program, but for her very kind support and also initiating and including and coordinating with speakers, especially Dr. Mandari ji, sorry, Rashtriya Priya ji. So she introduced her in this program, so we are very much thankful to her. We are joined by several other dignitaries, Honorable Professor Kambo sir, the past President of NASI, Professor P.K. Seth sir, Professor Pramod Tandon sir, Dr. Veena Tandon ma'am, Dr. Subhra Chakravarti ma'am, Dr. Ritu Trivedi ji, Dr. R.D. Tripathi sir, and other participants. So we are very much thankful to everyone for being with us on this auspicious occasion. I am very much thankful to Dr. Neeraj sir, the Executive Secretary of this NASI, for all his kind support and help, without which these kind of activities are not possible to organize. And we are very much thankful to all the students who very enthusiastically joined this event. And we hope that they must have learned a lot and they will take this message forward in their society, and especially on this very important aspect, that is malnutrition. NASI is very much thankful to its past president, general secretaries, the treasurer, all the fellows, members and local chapters for their very kind help and cooperation. And last but not the least, I express my sincere thanks to all the NASI executives and staff for all their kind help and support. I once again thank everyone.
Last but not the least, I would like to thank Archana ji on behalf of all the participants as well as on my own behalf. Thank you, everybody. Namaskar.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, NASI headquarters, for a wonderful.
Thank you, everyone.
Joshi ji, many thanks.